Well, hello friends, Food Josevich here. Welcome back to some Hearthstone as we decided to switch it up a little bit to some Elemental Shaman as we continue our climb to Legend. And we kind of got slowed down a little bit because everyone and their grandmother right now is playing the mid-range Paladin as it has completely gained a whole bunch of popularity, understandably so. However, that being said, we could just get our board cleared here. But that's also okay for us because we have our Servant of Kalamos. So because everyone else is currently playing these decks that we've been enjoying so much. Okay, so now we actually have an option. Do we want to take one of these big boys or do you just want to go Frost Ellie for a little bit of a strange tempo next turn? Or do we just want to take the biggest minion? The issue is this is super weak to sap. And I actually like Frost Elemental here, as strange as it might seem. And now we're at 10 cards, unfortunately, so we are going to have to just burn the coin. Do we play the Ellie? I think we do now, simply because I have a little bit of extra power on board. And it empties our hand, so for in the event that we discover again next turn. A wasted backstab, I think. Evis on the Kalamos? Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm not bothered by that whatsoever. The issue is now, this is a great Jade Lightning target, but then we don't have Elemental activation next turn. But I think this is just simply too powerful of a value play. And you know, it's the perfect 5 mana, 4 health minion. Now that Azure Drake is gone, we basically have this back. Obviously, significantly different, purpose from Azure Drake. But still good, just the 4 health, take something out, very useful. Start building up our Jades so that once we get... Oh, that's pretty terrifying. How are we going to deal with that 2 health? This is exactly how we're going to deal with it, actually. Fire Ellie is another good way to deal with it. So I think we're going to go with a 3. And we could push Hot Spring. But then that gives our opponent a free kill. So this is still our Elemental for next turn. And I think we'll be okay doing it this way. We're going to have lots and lots of options actually this coming turn. We did play an Elemental, so depending what our opponent does, we can just go ahead and discover. Obviously, we have one of the... I don't want to say one of the best, but it's just a very, very strong, super strong class cards available to us in all of Hearthstone. Little pirate action. We do have one Galacta Crawler in this deck. If you take a look at the top of the deck list here, which is always... Oh, what's going on here? I'm not sure what our opponent's doing. Oh, S37. Interesting. So this is... We're expecting this to be some sort of Sherazin Miracle Rogue. This is fine for us. I'm not too bothered, really. This is obviously not a great... Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we want to kind of re-roll that spell power. Ooh, Alakir could do real work. Oh, we have so many issues. We have so many issues. So we can Lightning Storm first for 3. If we hadn't burnt our coin earlier, oh, this would have been so good. So if we high roll here, we're good. If we hit spell power, we guarantee the high roll. But that's 25%, so I don't really want to be making 25% plays. So I think this is good. As long as we high roll one of these, we're good. That's now the best result because we can just go ahead and put out the most amount of power and discover, let's say, another Kalamos. Oh, none of these are really great. I guess the highest power is going to be the This Elemental can't be targeted? No, that's useless. Okay. So I guess basically all we need to do now is somehow top deck our Hex so that Sherazin, or Sherazin as I call it, and that's how I'm going to call it, doesn't get out of control for our opponent. And we are still going to have 2 Arcane Giants to deal with as well. There's an Evis. A couple totems I'm not really worried about. This is going to be a pretty good Fire Elemental turn, it looks like. We'll float 1 mana, unfortunately. But that was also... Was that the second Evis or no? Maybe, maybe not. Oh, and if we had 1 mana, I would love to Maelstrom Portal here. What else can we do? What else can we do? Freezing, I think we need to save for something else. Flame Tongue's going to be our win condition. I think just killing this is going to be good enough. It continues our elemental chain as well, which is very nice. This was really unfortunate that our Discover was actually quite so weak. But we'll be able to continue the good times here, and Calamos is going to be doing good work, that's for sure. Well, Calamos time. Oh, that's unfortunate, but that's going to be going to trade here as opposed to going face. So that's also good that there's a whole bunch of damage that is not having to be dealt with this turn by us. I think we're going to Alec here and Maelstrom Portal. Unless we can think of something more sweet to do. So Calamos, I'm trying to think, does Calamos do 4 or... I am honestly, I honestly can't remember how much damage Calamos does right off the top of my head. Calamos, we need to, Calamos options. And the issue is you can't summon, it is 3 damage. So you can't summon Calamos and then take him back. You're forced to take the pick. So we have to kill this. The easiest way, I think, is going to be Alec here. It's obviously a little bit sad that we can't combo the Alec here into the Flame Tongue combo. We could get something. That's a pretty good pickup, to be honest. I think we'll get rid of the 2-1. Leaving up the 0-2 isn't going to be that useful for our opponent unless they have to Cold Blood again. And honestly, if they're Cold Blooding again, there's a really good chance that they're going to run out of burst before we're able to just completely stabilize and do all sorts of crazy good things that we need to. I mean, that's something, but Razor Petal, that's fine. Another card burnt, and there's another one. And really, this is not anywhere near the end of the world for us. We still have a little bit of AoE in the deck. And by a little bit of AoE, I mean mostly Calamos. No, we do have lots of other options. So now we are in a little bit of a jam in the sense of how do we want to do this? And I think we kind of want to go wide. I think we can... We're going to save the Frost Elemental, though. I was honestly going to Frost Elemental. But I changed my mind. We're going to go 4-3-2-1. I like going 4-3-2-1. Our opponent has, I mean, it's 4 cards. 1 Auctioneer's already gone. If they continued, if let's say they do have an Auctioneer and then they continue to cycle a whole bunch, they're going to be in honestly a bit of trouble because I think we will be able to either burst them out soon. I don't think it'll happen this coming turn. But I mean, both their fans are gone. So having Fan of Knives gone while Blood Mage is up is a lot less scary for us. There is still 1 Evis, so they can attack, play something, then Evis into this. It's kind of whatever, though. A Sappage, oof, that's a pretty weak sap, I guess. But I mean, that's kind of, you know, our opponent would never sap a Calamos, right? Like, that would just be ridiculous. So that's never going to happen. This trade, kind of whatever. Now we get rid of their, I mean, our opponent just really didn't draw. It doesn't look like they really drew their, they didn't really draw their threats. We do now actually have the option of going Calamos filling the board. With 1/1s. I think that's reasonable. I don't expect to die. I guess we could actually die here. We're going to fill them with the super cute little 1/1s. Some of the cutest 1/1s in the game. There's no more Fan of Knives, though, from our opponent. Oh, they could discover some AoE now off the top. AoE is obviously an insta-pick, so I'm not too worried about it. I will expect that some of our minions get... Give your minions Death Rattle, return to hand. Ooh, that's scary. Oh, that's, I would not have done that way. I think Bloodlust is basically a guaranteed lethal. Beyond lethal, actually. So, that's going to be how this game ends. And a well played to our opponent, and a good choice so far of changing decks back to Elemental Shaman. Okay, and we have ourselves a little bit of a decision to be making right here, right now, of whether we want to stop the discard chain or whether we want to go a little bit value and get rid of this 2/2. I'm honestly tempted to do this just because there aren't many AoE punishes. So I think we're going to do it this way. It also guarantees we can get one punch in here and maintain a little bit of our minion here, basically guaranteeing we get rid of Malchezaar's Imp this coming turn. As long as there's no crazy discard action, we're in really, really good shape in this matchup. And I think because we still have 3 AoEs plus Kalamos, AoE and healing, we should, you know, ultimate jinx, we should be in a decent position against these type of Zoo-Lock decks. And now they are obviously Disco Zoos because they have that discard mechanic coming in here. But as long as we can avoid some shenanigans with getting free silverwares early, we should be able to stabilize reasonably well. We do have a taunt that obviously we've overloaded ourselves. We're not going to be able to handle this coming turn. That's terrifying. Woo! Hopefully, we're expecting this to now have been the primary target that Malchezaar's Imp was trying to get to. We really, really need some help. If we were to top deck Maelstrom Portal, that would be great. Bloodlust is the opposite of great. Taunt would be good. That's honestly not the worst either. We're going to have to hold off now and hope for one more turn that we don't get run over by a crazy discard here. I'm expecting this to be the 3/3 for 3. If it gets discarded, play it. That's probably a good result for us. Our opponent goes a little bit slow here. If they don't do anything, we just trade with the board and play a minion, which is a beautiful result. Oh, they could just have Mortal Coil, and that would be bad for us. Also a little bit bad, but our taunt just stops this damage dead in its tracks, so this is very good for us. Obviously not exactly mana efficient at this point, but I don't think that's something we're too worried about when we just want to make sure that we don't fall behind on board. Our 5 turn again is going to be weak here, but once we hit the 6, we're going to be kind of off to the races. We've got a strong 6. I'm going to go 6 with Aya into 7 Fire Elemental so that we can 8 Kalamos. At least that's the game plan right now. Oh, that is brutal. Oh, that is awful for us. Okay, we are going to go ahead and do it this way. This is obviously a very, very poor trade here for us. But I still think that's going to be the best result that we could have gotten. Obviously, top decking something like Lightning Storm or even Maelstrom Portal would have been a lot better here. But that's okay because sometimes I think honestly our opponent and we've both kind of had poor starts here. It's kind of just a battle of, our opponent's taking a little bit of time trying to figure out what they can actually do with their hands. Not ideal. We don't have really that many options, so we're kind of playing a little bit faster right now. And I think, honestly, that's, that's sometimes we were given a lot of heavy cards to start the game, so we just played what we had. And I think overall it should be okay. I mean, these are reasonable trades the way they do this. You do this, you kind of hope it goes here, to be honest. That's okay. The 3 trades, the 1 trades. Our boards trade. If our opponent plays something with low health, obviously we've got the great tempo play. But if they just play something that they just want to stick, I've got no problem tossing down Aya into it. We're high enough on health at this point. Oh my. Options. I think we go Aya here. I think we definitely need to go Aya so that next turn we can Fire Elemental and trade. And then the turn after that we'll have to heal. Because I feel like our opponent's just going to go ultra aggressive. That was good that was their last Soul Fire though. So there can only be so much aggression now. This is actually a decent trade for us, and I don't mind it whatsoever. Yeah, this is very reasonable. And then we also have Alakir on 8, so we can taunt and trade at the same time. I think if our opponent wants to win, they need to go face. I think going face is so much more pressure on us. It just needs to happen. Like this is the trade that I want to make. So I really think it's silly if they were to give it to us, basically. Now we also have actually a little bit of an option with the Flame Tongue. But I wonder how much slower the Flame Tongue actually is. We could also Bloodlust. If we had some sort of small, if we hadn't missed our early game completely, I think maybe though Fire Elemental is so much better. It sets up the heal. It still clears the board. Almost clears the board. It's very unlikely that we die. 3 here, yes, this means Aya is a bit of overkill, but 3 here means that the 5/7 doesn't die, and we need to get rid of the 5/7. Now this is okay. I mean, we have a lot of power on board, and we have a heal. So as long as our opponent can't deal, what is this, 11 damage from hand, I think we're going to be okay. We will be able to stabilize at this point. We have a very strong board. And we have heal, not quite to full, but still very high. And now we have the option to discover some more later. So this is actually, wait. I know I want to heal, but could we just clear the board here? Knowing that we have a big taunt next turn? Because otherwise we attack in here. I feel like the AoEs, I feel like either way, both of these are basically winning plays. I don't think it's going to matter too much. I feel like the healing is... I feel like this is the safer play. This feels safer, the healing. But honestly, I feel like if we had chosen the AoE to our opponent, I think we would have been safe as well. Because now that would have done nothing, right? Like that play would have done basically nothing. And this is okay. Like we're not worried at all about this. Alec here comes in and clears up the board. I mean, we can we can discover and also play the Lightning Storm. I mean, we basically have only good options at this point, and this still keeps the elemental chain going, so I'd rather do this. Both ways, I think we're very safe plays, to be honest. I feel like we only had good options at that point. Uh-oh. This is very okay. Again, we get to trade off the board. Actually, we probably would have had lethal if we'd paid attention there. Oh, super lethal with Bloodlust as well. And we continue to climb. And you know what? That's going to be it for this video, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, you might as well hit that big old red subscribe button as we continue our climb up to Legend. We definitely want to make it this season because we feel like it's early enough and we got a little bit of time, although work's going to go crazy. I hope to see you there. Keep your stick on the ice.